before 8 the time, we'll come back to our conversation about energy prices. Indeed, we might touch on that with our next guest, who is the Middle East and North African Minister, and of course, obviously a Conservative MP as well, James Cleverly, who joins me now. This is ahead of Foreign Secretary Liz Truss meeting her Iranian counterpart at the UN. And Ms. Truss, of course, has accompanied the Prime Minister over to the United States. Let's get Minister James Cleverly on the show now. What are you hoping, indeed, what are your colleagues hoping might come out of that meeting with her Iranian counterpart? Good morning, Minister.
Good morning, Nick. Well, ultimately, our demands of the Iranians haven't changed. They currently hold a number of British dual nationals in detention, completely arbitrary detention. We don't believe there is any legitimacy to their detention, and we are calling upon the Iranians to release them and to do so immediately. That will be the message that Liz takes to her Iranian counterpart, and it will reflect the messages that I've had with the Iranian ambassador in the past. I think the message she'll be putting across is we are not going to drop this as an issue. This remains an absolute priority for us, and it will be the subject of, it will be amongst things that we discuss in any and every bilateral meeting that we have with the Iranians.
You say a number of dual nationals. What is that number, Minister?
Well, I'm not going to discuss that this morning.
Why?
Well, because one of the challenges with this, of course, is that the
no, sorry. Let's back up a little.
Hold
on. The British government are seeking to take action for, quotes, a number of dual nationals. It's not a state secret. What is the number?
Well, it's.
Can I put it to you? Don't know, Mr. Cleverly.
No, I do know, but
well, then,
it's not.
Then tell us.
No, I'm not going to, Nick, because actually it's not always in the best interests of the people that we're trying to help to necessarily
to highlight to publicise their case. It's how does good Lord?
No, it's not always.
How does it
not? Not always.
So it's best they're kept in some hideous jail in Iran without us knowing what's going on.
It's not always in the best interest of the individuals for their cases to be publicised. Some of the families do not want their cases publicised, and what we don't want is for me to have a conversation with you where I say, okay, well, who are they? List them, because I'm not going to go there. The point is, we are working on behalf of all the British dual nationals who are currently in detention. Some are high-profile names, some are names that you will not know, but we are going to continue to work to get them all home.
But I do know the names because it's on Google. I've got it in front of me now.
Well, then.
So if I can get it on Google, how come Her Majesty's government doesn't tell me?
Well, then you don't need to ask me, then, do you, Nick?
I don't think you know how many there are. Candidly.
Okay.
You don't, do you?
I do. I work.
Is it 4?
Nick, I work.
Is it 4? Is it 4?
Nick, I work on this all the time. I work on this all the time.
So is the number 4? Would the number 4 be correct?
Trust me, I know exactly.
Would the number 4 be correct?
Look, this is great. It's great fun radio, but this is not.
No, I don't think it's great fun radio. I think it's a bit concerning radio that I don't know that you know the number, but you're telling me you do.
I'm assuring you I do.
All right, well, let's move on to other matters. Thank you for that. And obviously, we wish good luck. The one that is high profile, we just have to touch on briefly, is, of course, Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe, for whatever reason. I hear that you and your government are working hard, but it's April 2016. Obviously not on your watch. This is a fresh government. What fresh impetus can be given now, more than 5 years on, Minister?
Well, we have made it clear to the Iranians, and Liz will make it clear to the Iranians, that we are not, as I say, we're not going to drop this. We will always fight on behalf of all the British dual nationals in detention, and the negotiations that we're having with Iran will continue until this is resolved. And the new Foreign Secretary is going to make it clear that just because there has been a change of leadership at the FCDO, that our position on dual nationals has not changed one iota, and we will continue to push for their release, all of them.
OK, well, let's wish the best on that. A couple of other stories, if I could get you to comment on. There seems to be a degree of nervousness in the pact that was announced last week between the United Kingdom, the United States and Australia. We could be putting one of our closest neighbours, France, offside. They're rather grumpy about it. Should we be concerned, Minister?
Well, look, it is always better to have good relations with their neighbours. And ultimately, the situation between Australia and France with regards to the negotiations that they had is for them. What this is about is making sure that the UK strengthens and deepens its relationship with two of its very, very close allies around the world, the United States of America and Australia. Ultimately, all bilateral relations go through ups and downs, and I have no doubt that we will remain close partners and allies with France, and that ultimately will be to the benefit of both the UK and France, of course.
We know that your boss, the Prime Minister, is going to have talks with his counterpart Joe Biden about this. How likely do you think it is that we might be able to reopen the US to UK travel as Minister?
Well, ultimately, the UK is an international player. Global Britain means that we want to be connected with as many partners around the world as possible, and we want to do so when it is safe. So, of course, negotiating about improving travel and making it easier for people will, of course, be part of our negotiations with the United States of America. There's a lot of things that the Prime Minister and the President will want to be talking about, but maintaining the ability to travel to and visit each other's countries will, of course, be an important part of what we discuss. And
lastly, coming back to domestic matters, there does seem to be an energy crisis of sorts. Is this in any way down to Brexit?
No. This is hitting a number of countries around the world, and it is. I think the Prime Minister summed it up rather well. This is a byproduct of the sudden increase in demand as we come out of COVID globally. The UK is in a better position than many countries because obviously we have a domestic gas production capability, and our imported gas is from very, very reliable partners like Norway. So whilst this is affecting many, many parts of the world simultaneously, actually the UK is in a better position than many.
And are we going to see a potential government bailout? You'll probably be aware 5 companies sadly have gone to the wall. There's another one that is just about clinging on, it would appear from the headlines. Have we got a Northern Rock bailout on the way, Minister?
Well, the business sector has had meetings with the industry, did so last week, did so over the weekend. Our priority is to protect consumers, both domestic and commercial consumers, and to protect the energy supply. Exactly how we do this will be up for discussion, but ultimately our priority is to make sure that we do have energy both for homes and businesses through this winter.
It could be a Northern Rock then.
Well, I'm not going to speculate because exactly how we do that will be up for discussion. But our priority is to maintain the supply of energy to consumers and to make sure that domestic consumers through the energy price cap are protected from unpredictable fluctuations and increases in energy prices.
Very grateful for your time as ever. Thank you, Conservative MP and Middle East and North Africa Minister James Cleverly, appearing here on LBC, where it's 8 o'clock news is next.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom.